Hello guys, so today I'm going to be talking about Reverend Kent Hovind. Some of you may have heard of him, some of you may not have, but apparently this is a preacher who is well known mostly for his creation seminars, his speeches on, like creationism versus evolution and stuff like that. And not I'd say not all the stuff he says has been right, and it depends on like where you stand on the whole issues. But even most other creationists and Christians don't think that a lot of the things he says are right either. And so some of the stuff he says is unscientific, but that doesn't mean everything he says is just a bunch of crap, And nowadays he gets a whole lot of criticism for some of the things that he's done by atheists, especially by other Christians and all sorts of groups of people. So anyways, let's talk about, first of all, one of the things that he sort of led me to believe or got me into is the whole idea that dragons and dinosaurs are really the same thing. And I think that was, was pretty cool. And you look at it, and it's true. You look at all the sort of history it describes, like what's called dragons often describe, dinosaurs quite often. And then you look at like the bones and the legends and the pictures of dinosaurs on like different like sculptures and stuff. Whether you believe in creationism or not, like I'd say that there's definitely only a lot of flaws or a lot of loopholes in like evolution. I think that like not only this like scientific evidence often shoot down a lot of the things in it, but also historic evidence. As you can see, like humans and dinosaurs didn't exist at the same time, but yet how come there are so many stories and legends about dinosaurs everywhere? And you may think, oh well, why can't it just be that people dug up dinosaur bones back in the Middle Ages and came up with these stories based on that? Well, you mean for a number of reasons. And that one reason is there's no evidence at all that human beings ever dug up dinosaurs. Think about it. People in the Middle Ages took like parts to the Christian cross. I know this is a separate, I'm kind of going off on a rant, but oh well. People from the Middle Ages took Christian crosses that were believed to be from the actual cross of Jesus Christ, and things they believed were actual blood samples in the Shroud of Turin. If they dug up a dinosaur skull and called it a dragon, they're going to put it on display somewhere in one of their like castles or something as proof, whenever they dig up something that's sacred. But anyways, I just got off on a rant. Back to Kent Hovind. Yeah, he's the one that led me to believe that, and eventually in his career he got off into teaching about conspiracies about the government and the Illuminati and health facts. I remember one of the things he taught me was that vitamin B17 inside fruit can cure cancer, and I started doing more research on it. I didn't just take it from him, and there's so many articles out there. You can go look it up. I've known people personally who have been treated that way. The FDA pretty much is lying too, and they don't want you to get quality treatment. You don't. There are actually plenty of cures for cancer, by the way, not just vitamin B17 and the seeds of fruit. Like there are so many ways that like chemo and radiation therapy should be obsolete by now. Cancer removal surgery should be whatever I just said before. Not non-existent. That word, I can't think of it. So yeah, that was definitely another thing he led me into that I got really into, and is actually quite true. And he talked about conspiracies on the Illuminati and so forth, and how bad the government was, which I definitely appreciated hearing that from a pastor at the time, because my parents were always, I was I was born like going to church, everything in a Christian home. They're always trying to tell me, the Bible is all. And I'm not saying I don't agree with it, but they were always telling me about like the Bible and stuff like that, and I felt like because of that, I couldn't be like a libertarian because of what the Bible said. And he came along and started preaching these things, and I started seeing, oh well, maybe I can. I don't know if he's quote a libertarian, but he starts talking about these conspiracies, and I looked for them in other places, and I began thinking they're real. I think most of the conspiracies he said have been real, and I've seen some of the things he's done repeated on Alex Jones as well and in other places. So, I think most of what he says is legit. Now, granted, some of his science is off. Some of the things he says are a little sketchy, but I don't think so. And finally, that leads up to him going to jail for 10 years, which I don't think he's out yet. He might be, because apparently he refused to pay his income tax. Now, this is the part I really want to get into. Like, what the frick? Like, if he doesn't pay his income tax, like, he should go to jail. Well, I don't think he should go to jail at all, because that's state is coercion. That's wrong. But if he's gonna go to jail, he should at least go to jail for, like, 6 months to, like, a year. 10 freaking years? Are you freaking kidding me? Like, whoever carried out that sentence should just be executed. And I don't even believe in the death penalty, but we should just, like, kneel him down, old school, drop the axe blade off of their head. Like, I'm not kidding. I think whoever gave him that sentence is worthy of the death penalty. As far as the jury goes, a jury of his peers said he was guilty. I don't care what a dang jury has to say about anything. It's the same reason democracy and republics corrupt, because you can't vote on something that's right. Just because the majority of people decide that something's right doesn't mean it's right. Let's get a jury to decide if the world is round. No, it's immoral either way. You can't threaten to steal someone's money, and if they don't comply, lock them in a cage. That's immoral, and it's wrong, and every member of that jury is blind. Do I think they should be executed? No, because they're just innocent people who don't know a thing, whereas the corrupt people involved who pretty much kidnapped a man, I don't know. I don't believe in the death penalty. I shouldn't say that, but still, it's like, come on, why are these people not hanging for what they're doing? Back in the old days, they would have been hung. But yeah, and for 10 years, like, that's bull crap. You don't have to put someone in prison for 10 years for not giving you like a little bit of dang money. Really think about it on a logical perspective. Okay, he may have cost you like a few $100s or so, like, a month for not paying his income tax. But think of it, all the money he's costing you right now by being in jail, because you have to feed him and clothe him and shower him and who knows what. He's costing you a ton of dang money, and the fact that our taxes are supporting for your nonsense is just ridiculous. And second of all, I see everyone saying, it's the law, you have to pay your income tax. He's such a, quote, swindler. He's not a swindler at all. It's the government that's a swindler. You call him a swindler, but you don't pay attention to the fact that there's a group of criminals who ask for people's money, and if they don't comply, they'll come and try to kidnap them, and if they try to defend themselves, then they'll shoot them. These people clearly haven't thought of that, but of course, he's a swindler because he won't pay them. Pay a bunch of criminals that call themselves, quote, government? Like, come on. They clearly haven't heard of, like, the non-aggression principle or anything about anarcho-capitalism or universalizing morals. They would say that it would be wrong of me to threaten to kidnap and put them in a cage and kill them if they try to defend themselves because they didn't give me their money. What if I was, what if I was trying to give that money to the poor? It'd still be wrong, right? It's still wrong to rob people. Stealing is wrong no matter what, and taxation is not any different than stealing. So the fact that Kent Hovind went to jail at all is just absolute absurdity and bullcrap anyway, from like a libertarian's perspective, but like 10 years as well. That's a bunch of crap. And then another point I'd like to make about Kent Hovind that there are whole series, there are whole YouTube channels out there dedicating to just criticizing him. Well, in my opinion, this is pathetic, and this is like a proof that he's a threat to your power. Like, you look at Jesus, why were all the Pharisees so obsessed with bringing down one man? Because he was a threat to their power, and I feel like that's the same. Like, people, like, there's a whole series called Kent Hovind is Crazy. Well, if he's so crazy, why do you have to make a whole series on bashing one person? You know, he's threatening your beliefs somehow. You feel that he makes a point somehow, some way, and you're not any different than like the Pharisees or the Sadducees in the Bible. You know, you have to criticize one man because he's a threat to your quote power. You know, that's proof. And yet they call him a swindler. You're the one that's doing this. And then it's also cowardly. He's in jail. He can't defend himself, but you're like criticizing him all the time. You know, it's like, what the heck? And this is another reason why I feel like the majority of the people in American prison should not be there. The whole system of voting, I'll probably do a whole nother video on just our justice system. The whole idea of voting to decide if someone's innocent or guilty or not is crap. You know, just because a jury said you're guilty doesn't mean you're guilty, and just because a jury said you're innocent doesn't mean you're innocent, you know? And it's not, quote, innocent until proven guilty. It's innocent until a jury decides you're guilty. And they can just decide you're guilty for pretty much any reason, as long as they all agree. And if one person disagrees, then they're just going to do it again until they get a unanimous decision. So, yeah. That's pretty much what it is. So, like, you know, my thoughts and prayers go out to Kent, and for the people who put him in jail. You know, I guess it wouldn't be a Christian thing to like curse them or anything, but you know, they're scum of the earth. Like, really, everyone in that whole prison facility, the judge, everyone involved. If you guys are watching this, if you're involved in the Kent Hovind case or any other case like this, or any other case involving the justice system, I'm going to point at you right now. Now I'm going to say you are scum of the earth. You know, you have no right to be doing what you're doing, and you're the one that's bringing us down. Anyways, peace, love, anarchy, auf Wiedersehen.